WWE Elimination Chamber 2025 just went off the air, and I'm going to keep it real with y'all. The icky is kicking my ass. I'm unkempt. I barely got any voice, and I wasn't sure I'd even be able to do a post-show for all of y'all tonight. But after that show, yeah, we got a lot to talk about.
Ladies and gentlemen.
What's up, world? It's your boy Tommy on the spot for Watch Along Wrestling. Thanks so much for checking out this video as we are about to go through the entire WWE Elimination Chamber show from start to finish. I'll give my thoughts on all of the big matches and all of the big moments. And if you're teetering on the edge, if you need to go out of your way to watch this show, yes, you should go out of your way to watch this show. I thought that all four matches delivered. I thought the two chamber matches were absolutely incredible and so much news. This really felt like we are now firmly on that fast track to WrestleMania, and I am very excited to get into it with all of you. So let's start, of course, with the biggest news of the show, and it was the closing angle. It was very interesting because I had messaged a couple of different people I was kind of live texting with throughout the show. Hey, what do you think is going to be the main event, Elimination Chamber or The Rock and Cody? And pretty much everyone, except for my main man Steve down in Orlando, Florida, give him credit, said that the Chamber should close the show. And I almost was half joking when I threw it out there. And then the Chamber started, and we still had The Rock and Cody to come. And so all of a sudden, it was a little like, well, this is interesting. Wasn't really expecting that this was going to be coming down the pike here, that we'd be closing with this Rock and Cody segment. It immediately felt like this segment was a little bit amplified in its importance by it going in the main event. So the show ends. John Cena does get the big win. I'll get into kind of the ins and outs of the men's chamber because there's a little more to talk about there. But Cena gets the win, last eliminating CM Punk, and he is standing in the ring, and Cody gets on the mic, and he starts talking about whether or not he's about to accept The Rock's proposal for The Rock to take his soul. Is he going to join The Rock? And I will say this, Rock comes out with Travis Scott. A lot of people didn't like Travis Scott being involved here. I think some wrestling fans honestly don't know who Travis Scott is. I am familiar, mostly because my wife is a fan of his music, so we've been listening to his music for a number of years, and also is a fan because he was, dating Kylie Jenner, I think it is, for a number of years, and so I could be wrong on that. Could be Kendall. If that is, my bad. But I know that he was with her for a number of years. Obviously, my wife's a fan of the Kardashians, has been for a long time, and so she kind of knew Travis Scott through that, but also enjoyed his music, and so when his music had hit, I was like, oh, that makes sense, because they had said Travis Scott was going to be on the show, and then we really hadn't seen him. Didn't realize he was going to be involved in this main event angle. But I really think he added quite a bit to the angle. And if you think about it, The Rock is trying to show Cody Rhodes that he wants to come on the dark side. He wants to come be Hollywood. He wants to join The Rock and become an absolute megastar. And by bringing out Travis Scott, that immediately showed Cody Rhodes the importance of coming with The Rock. Hey, Rock isn't only saying that, he's going to make you a big star. Look, Travis Scott is hanging with The Rock. He's as A-list as they come. So it made sense for him to be out there. And I mean, hey, listen, the guy's out there smoking blunts in the middle of the final segment. Is that my favorite thing in the world on a family show? Maybe not. But this was a show, I think, that you had to go in with kind of those parental goggles on already, because you knew about the unsanctioned match that was going to happen. So certainly gloves were off here in this final segment, because when it came time for Cody to whether or not he was going to sell his soul to The Rock, he said, Rock, my soul is no longer mine, but it's not for you. It's because I've dedicated my soul to this business and to these people. And Cody did not turn and join The Rock. And going into this, I did not think Cody was going to join The Rock right away. Where I thought we were going with this was that he would face John Cena in the main event of WrestleMania, and then he would turn on Cena and join The Rock at the end of WrestleMania, similar to the finish of WrestleMania 17, where Austin joined McMahon. In my opinion, do I think it's the time for Cody to turn? No. Cody should not turn at all, right? If you think about it, the guy came back. He was welcomed with open arms from his time in AEW. The crowd completely accepted him as one of their own by him coming back to WWE. Has never wavered against Cody Rhodes, never turned on him. Even when Sami Zayn was on the rise going into WrestleMania 39, they were still behind Cody. And at the end of the day, that's something that they just didn't, they never did. Yes, they loved Sami Zayn. They were disappointed he didn't win, but the crowd was not like, hey, we're now going to boo Cody. It never happened. And then going into WrestleMania 40, when it looked like Cody was going to be pulled out of the WrestleMania main event for a match that we have all been dying for probably the last 10 to 15 years, let's say 10 years, The Rock versus Roman Reigns, the crowd had none of it. The fans had none of it. The fans were, all about Cody, wanting Cody back in this spot, and just wouldn't accept it until WWE had to change direction going into WrestleMania 40. So it made no sense for Cody to now turn on the fans. So I was glad to see that he didn't do it. But I will say this. I don't know how I didn't pick up on it, because John Cena was over the top corny. He was so excited, so jubilant, doing his thing, that it kind of, in retrospect, you could tell he was being inauthentic. But this has kind of been John Cena over these last few years, right? Throughout that last run, that really kind of strange deal where he was teaming up with LA Knight and doing all those hosting duties. He was this over-the-top, jubilant, what are we doing type of guy throughout most of that run. So I didn't really think too much of it until he went and he grabbed Cody. I think my wife, she came out, she was watching with me, and she was like, John Cena's going to be in on it with The Rock. And 2 seconds after he said that, bang, he hits Cody with the low blow. And this whole time, Travis Scott is still hanging out in the ring. Like, it was so strange. But he turned on Cody, joined up with The Rock. And it was interesting because at that moment, The Rock gave the old, that whole deal that he had given at Bad Blood. And The Rock confirmed during the post-show that that was all a part of a long-term storytelling of him basically throwing up the John Cena. And no one ever picked it up on it, but he had. And whether that was always the plan or not, who knows? But if it was, brilliant. If it wasn't, it makes a lot of sense to say that, yeah, that was all the big part of the plan, and no one knew, and no one picked up on it because we kept everything so close to the vest. Because I'll tell you this, a lot of people thought John Cena was going to win. I didn't see one person even suggest that John Cena was going to be turning on Cody Rhodes. In one of my group texts, my buddy Brian did throw this out there earlier, and I didn't even pick up that. I was like, what is he talking about? He's crazy. But it makes a lot of sense, right? This guy, throughout most of his life, throughout most of his career, John Cena has been the ultimate good guy, doing all of the Make-A-Wish things, doing everything, hustle, loyalty, respect, doing everything he can to stand up for what he truly believes in. And what did a lot of us do? We booed the guy out of the building. We had no part of John Cena as the top face of WWE. It wasn't let's go Cena, let's go this other guy for the most part. It was most of the time, let's go Cena, Cena sucks, right? It was a lot of kids and women, let's go Cena, and then Cena sucks. And at the end of the day, John Cena continued to power through, stuck with where he was at, until he comes back for this final run. And now suddenly we all love the guy. Suddenly everyone's doing the, my time is now. I was doing the whole dance like that in the middle of my Rumble reactions. So at the end of the day, I understand where John Cena's coming from. And he has a lot of reason to turn heel, right? No, you can't embrace me during my final run now. Screw that. My final run is for me. And so while it doesn't make any sense for Cody to accept this role, it does make that sense for The Rock, for Cena to take that from The Rock. And if you think about it, the thing that Cena hated more than anything about The Rock way back in the day was that The Rock was a part-timer. He wasn't showing up every week. He was showing up via satellite. And John Cena said, hey, during my final run, I'm going to be a part of the show every week. I'm going to be a part of things. And ever since this started, John Cena's been on the first Raw on Netflix. John Cena's been on the Royal Rumble. He's been on Elimination Chamber. Has not been on a single other show. He's been doing everything. And why hasn't he? Because he's been filming a movie. So it's almost like he's embraced the entire bit of The Rock that he hated back in 2012 and that he was always talking trash about. So at the end of the day, it really kind of fits very well together. And if you even think further back, you think about him after the Royal Rumble. And yes, he was very intense, and yes, he was very humble, but he got on the mic and he said, hey, I'm what's best for business in the main event of WrestleMania. And so at this moment, I'm going to go ahead and declare for the Elimination Chamber. Everyone else had to win a qualifying match. Cena never did. So I love that. It almost feels like first time I saw the movie The Sixth Sense. And if you've never seen The Sixth Sense, at the end it's revealed that Bruce Willis's character throughout most of the movie had been dead throughout all of the movie. And you think back and go, how didn't I pick up on all these little things? And it's like going back and reliving all of these bits, it makes a lot of sense for John Cena to now be with The Rock. And I'm loving it. I think it's great. I can't believe this is where we're going to go with it on John Cena's final run. But I think we were in the mood for something a little different. I really do. And you think about, like, he couldn't be the guy who comes out, Stu, let's go to work. We love it. Boom. And go. No, who knows how he's gonna come out now? Who knows if he's gonna change his entrance music? But this allows John Cena to really do something completely different here. Can he be a heel that the crowd is really gonna hate? It's gonna be interesting. It really is, because obviously the crowd has loved the guy, but they did such a great job with this final angle, brutalizing Cody. I mean, Travis Scott went in on Cody. He slapped the crap out of him. But for me, I really think it's such an exciting thing. It's completely out of left field. And I'm really pumped to see where they go from here with the remainder of this story now of John Cena really being a heel, coming out of Elimination Chamber and now on the road to WrestleMania and beyond. Remember, he's still going to be here the whole year. And who knows? Maybe he has such a stranglehold on the world title at the end of this year. Maybe he even turns around and says, screw it. I'm going to stick around. I'm the champ, and I'm not going to leave till I lose the belt. I'm not saying that's going to happen. We kind of go against everything they've been promoting, but now I'd say everything's kind of up in the air. It's very exciting. I thought this was such a cool ending and a really exciting finish to Elimination Chamber. Now let me get into my thoughts of the show as it progressed and went through. Show kicked off with the women's Elimination Chamber. Swig of water. You got to hang with your boy tonight. It's we're gonna get through this together, but it's definitely been a struggle these past couple of days. Basically, right after I filmed my No Way Out 2002 retrospective with Alex and Randy, I lost my voice. I just haven't had it last couple of days, and I wanted to do another video or two on before Elimination Chamber. Have not had the opportunity to do that. I will do my main events of the Elimination Chamber rankings at a later time, and I will include tonight's main event as a part of those rankings. So you'll see where that falls in the history of Elimination Chamber rankings. Probably at the end of this week, I'd say. But let's talk about this show here. The Women's Elimination Chamber, just an incredible storytelling throughout this entire match. And it went in, and it seemed like everybody was under the foregone conclusion that Liv Morgan was going to win. And it wasn't only that people were under the conclusion she was going to win. People were saying, oh yeah, Liv's definitely winning this. She's a huge favorite or something. I guess you could bet on wrestling. That, to me, I've always heard this. I've always done my best to avoid the betting lines and all that, because supposedly whoever is favorite almost always wins. I don't know if Liv was favored, but I heard she was a huge favorite and did not win at the end of the day, and I didn't want her to win. I thought the best match coming out, I think we've seen Liv and Rhea. I think no reason to rehash that story. I don't think Io Sky is going to win on Monday. I think, if anything, Io Sky will get added to that main event, but I thought the idea of having Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley is a dream match. I hope they keep it one-on-one. I love Io Sky. I do. Think the world of her. I hope this one is kept one-on-one, and I wouldn't even be opposed to putting it on the main event of one of the nights of Mania. I think it's that big of a match, especially when you consider the fact that you can't spell WrestleMania without EST. She is still Bianca Belair, undefeated at WrestleMania, and now going up against really the face of the women's division for WWE in Rhea Ripley. I think it's such a strong story. I'm really pumped for this match, but the story of this match, it was just great right from the jump. Bell rings, and immediately out comes Jade Cargill. Her music hits, Jade Cargill's back, and Jade came in there and looked incredible. Immediately she's coming down into the ring, and Liv Morgan was fantastic, and her she's like, wait, please stop, I didn't do it. And I think Jade Cargill is like, I know who did it, and bang, she attacks Naomi, lays her out, beats the crap out of Naomi, slams the door of the chamber on Naomi, throws her into one of the Lexicon glass pods, whatever that is, and that was the end of Naomi. She was immediately eliminated. But as this is going on, Bianca Belair is just having like the biggest conniption in the world. She is in this pod, losing her mind, totally devastated, so upset, pleading with Jade to stop. Please, no, she didn't do anything. What are you doing? Totally confused. So you'd think at that stage, all right, well, we're setting up for Jade, Naomi, and Bianca, and that's Bianca's program for Mania, so clearly she isn't going to win, and a lot of people were already saying that they thought Liv Morgan was going to win. She was the favorite or whatever, so that was what I thought, and immediately I was kind of bummed. I was like, man, as much as I'd love that story, I'd love if Bianca was kept out of that, and Bianca was able to now track to the main event against Rhea. And immediately after Naomi's announced as being eliminated, no replacement. I thought maybe Chelsea Green or Natty would come in and replace her to get the hometown pop. Not the case. Nobody replaced Naomi. She was eliminated, and the next pod to open was Bianca. So now she's distraught. She almost got rolled up immediately, but was able to battle back and continue to battle against Liv and they were really the glue that held this entire rest of this match together. They were there from start to finish, and everyone looked great in the match. Bayley, total pro. I think Bayley's kind of entered that phase of her career, kind of where Becky Lynch was before she left. Not sure where Becky Lynch is, right? I don't know if Becky Lynch didn't make an appearance here. I'm not sure she's going to be a part of WrestleMania this year. It's really sad. I love Becky, but if she's coming back, I don't see a role for her in WrestleMania. And Bayley's kind of entered that now too, where Becky was in NXT. Bayley had a run in NXT. You can put Bayley anywhere. She's going to have great matches, and she could take a couple of L's and still hold that legitimacy to where she's at. That's how I feel about. That's how I felt about Becky during Becky's end of her first run, or I guess her run until now. We haven't heard anything new, and so that's kind of where Bayley's at. Roxanne Perez looked amazing in this match. I think she really did. She looked like a champ, and I thought Alexa also did look great too. Alexa's still getting kind of back into the swing of things. It was great to see her in this match, and I hope that she has a role at WrestleMania because I think she's such a unique character, and I'm excited to see kind of how they continue to build Alexa as she continues to kind of get back into the swing of things in WWE. But it came down to Bianca and Liv. Last few minutes of this were outstanding, really great stuff, and Bianca got the win, and I was very surprised. I was so stoked, and I can't wait now. Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania. Unless Io Sky does find a way to get involved. She did come up from between Rhea and Bianca as they were having their stare down. So still teasing that. Who knows? Maybe Io Sky will get that win over Rhea on Raw. I don't see it happening. But I'm a fan of Io. If it ends up being Io and Bianca, they've had incredible matches. I wouldn't mind running that back. But I do think the big money match here is Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. Next up, it was a tag match here. It was Trish Stratus and Tiffany Stratton taking on the team of Candice LeRae and Nia Jax. Trish Stratus looked great. They started to play back some of her stuff from Unforgiven 2006, her final pay-per-view match of her initial run with WWE, which took place in Toronto, Canada. So it was great to see Trish get so much adoration from the crowd, and for the crowd to really embrace seeing her. She's always had such a great relationship with the crowd. And they actually mentioned on SmackDown yesterday that Trish Stratus also wrestled at WrestleMania 18, which I hadn't quite remembered. But yeah, that the iconic photo of her coming out in that outfit, really the Toronto-inspired outfit in Toronto for WrestleMania 18. I thought it was awesome, and thought Trish looked great in the ring. Hadn't lost a step, never has. And I thought this was a solid match. I was very surprised to see it ended up being Tiffany Stratton who got the win. And I think Tiffany, you want to make her look strong going into WrestleMania, but I did think Trish would get the win, probably over Candice LeRae going into this. But it doesn't matter. Obviously, Trish and Tiffany look strong, and now all signs will get ready for Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair going into WrestleMania. So that should be a really good match, and I thought this was fine. It was probably a good come-down match for the Chamber. I don't think there's anything you have to go out of your way to see. Matter of fact, you know, the one thing about this match, the crowd was very flat. And the crowd, even though they showed out for Trish's entrance, showed her some love, some real adoration when she made her entrance, and certainly gave her a lot of respect. During the match, it seemed like the crowd disappeared. I don't know what happened. I don't know if they were just a little tired from everything going from 0 to 60 with Jade's return and the Elimination Chamber itself. But I think they could have showed out a little more during this match, especially for some of Trish's bigger spots. Moving right along, we did have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn unsanctioned match. This was absolutely amazing. I'll be honest, they have had a lot of matches. I adore these guys, but even me, when I had seen they were having another match, I was like, I don't know that we have to rehash this one. I don't. It hasn't even been that long since they've been in the ring with each other. I don't know that anyone wants to see these guys fight anymore. But they found a way to make it completely different. Unsanctioned matches are always brutal. Unsanctioned matches are always tough. But this one was brutal in a way where it wasn't hide the kids, this is so gross and disgusting. And I won't mention any of the other types of matches like that, but some of these matches I've seen that, not necessarily in WWE, but matches that have been unsanctioned or lights out, or sometimes too much. It's almost like gross, and nobody needs that. This was that without being gross. Sure, I felt the pain at home seeing the cheek into the barbed wire covered chair, but I do think that regardless of some of those crazier spots, I do think there was also an underlying story here that was woven throughout this entire match, that these guys had just reached such a fevered pitch in their hatred for one another that they were just willing to do anything in hopes of legitimately ending the other's career. Kevin Owens with so many buckle bomb spots into the turnbuckle, into the apron rather, to get to Sami Zayn, to the point where security's coming and pleading with him to stop. And you also had some of the agents coming out. Jason Jordan was there. Petey Williams, who I didn't realize worked for WWE, was there, just pleading with him to stop and relax. And even though he left, Kevin Owens did get the win. Thank goodness, right? Good to see a heel get a win. It has been so long since the heel has gotten an emphatic win in WWE. This was so nice to see. But he did get the win. And as he was exiting, it looked like he was coming back to go after Sami Zayn again. And when he had finally reached back to Sami Zayn, who should come out but the returning Viper, Randy Orton, this show? I mean, you think about it. You had the credible angle, you had the Jade Cargill return, now you got Randy Orton too. Holy smokes. Did you get your money's worth if you went to Elimination Chamber in Toronto? I mean, you got so much. It's just crazy to me. And Orton comes out, looks amazing. Crowd screaming his lyrics to his song. Him and Kevin Owens clearly were there going for WrestleMania. And he gets in the ring, lays everybody. He doesn't get to Kevin Owens. Kevin kind of slithers out like the heel that he is. But he hits all the other security guards. I'm sure they're all WWE ID talent or WWE potential local indies. Who knows? But they all each took a nice RKO. Orton looked great. He's officially back, and we're on the road to WrestleMania. I don't know what this means for Sami Zayn. I certainly think he's worked hard all year and would be ashamed to have him miss WrestleMania. But that injury angle certainly looked like he's going to be out for a period of time. I hope I'm wrong there, because I'd love to see him on the show. But at the same time, it is impactful for him to be out and sell this injury from Kevin Owens for the foreseeable future. And it looks like Kevin Owens is going to be tied with Randy Orton. We're actually, at the end, I'll recap where I think we're going for WrestleMania. And maybe I'll do a separate video on that, because I do think we have a lot, actually, right now, in terms of what our WrestleMania is starting to look like. And I think it's going to be a great card. Moving right along, we did get over now to the men's chamber. And I obviously already spoke about the closing angle, but I'll touch a little on the chamber. Logan Paul, man. Zero medio from this guy. He has no problem being such a dick heel. And it's so interesting to me, because when he first came into WWE in WrestleMania 37, they actually tried to build Logan Paul up as a babyface. And it was the weirdest thing. Nobody wanted to cheer for Logan Paul. And so finally, he is now, after about a year in, he embraced the idea that he's just the biggest heel. And he is absolutely hated. And he's playing into it, because he decided earlier in the night, the Canadian fans booed the holy hell out of the national anthem. The United States national anthem was the biggest heel on this show, bar none. They booed him right out of the building. The lady then babyfaced the crowd by singing "Oh Canada." They loved her after that. The poor singer did not deserve. It wasn't her fault that there's so much going on. But at the end of the day, Logan Paul comes out waving Old Glory. He was Hulk Hogan in the early 90s. I mean, this guy came out as Mr. USA, crowd booing him mercifully throughout his entrance. And also throughout this match, he also did get I don't know where they go with Logan Paul. He seems to be the odd man out come WrestleMania, because coming out of this match, it seems like they set up a couple of different things. First and foremost, Drew McIntyre was pinned first and eliminated by Damian Priest to continue their deal. And then Drew went after Damian Priest after he was already eliminated, allowing Logan Paul to get the victory on Damian Priest. And that is obviously continuing their build-up. I think we're going to get that match at Mania. And I think it'll be good. I think that, maybe that's not where folks wanted to see Drew McIntyre. But I think Damian Priest is solid. And I think they'll have a solid match at Mania. Then from there, and it came down to the final four, it was Logan Paul, Seth Rollins, John Cena, and CM Punk. They got rid of Logan, and that's when things really kicked into that fever pitch. Cena and Punk came face-to-face, handshake, big hug, and then they started beating the crap out of each other. And it felt like a real Goosebumps type moment for some of their rivalry. And so they started getting it on. Punk ended up, Rollins kind of was the third guy there for a while, and he was outside the ring laying in wait. And then at the end, it ended up being a deal where Punk hits him with the go to sleep, right into the Cena attitude adjustment. Punk lands on top of Rollins. 1, 2, 3. He's out. But he ended up hitting Punk with a curb stomp, which ended up allowing Cena, who was now a heel, and he certainly took advantage of this. Second he saw Punk was out, he grabbed Punk, pulled him back into the ring. He put him in the, I guess it's the STFU or the STF, whatever it is. And that was it. Punk had no choice. He passed out. Rollins is literally at the edge of his, screaming into the ring, right into Punk's face. Die! Die! He has had enough, obviously, of Punk. And it seems like that's where they're going. Obviously, we still have Roman Reigns out there. I assume he'll get involved in the mix as well. He has unfinished business with Seth Rollins, so I assume he's going to be, at some point, a part of things as well. But I guess that remains to be seen. Overall, though, I thought this match was great. You had so many great moments. I think the interaction between Punk and Cena, these two guys who are mid to late 40s at this point, still doing it at a top level. It's great to see Cena back in there having solid matches, too. Last couple matches Cena's had, he's just kind of had weird kind of tag matches. And I think like that run through 2023 for him, I'm not sure he had like a really solid match. This one, it really felt like he was right back in there. There was a little bit of kind of that deal that I don't love with triple threat matches toward the end where you have two guys that are battling and one guy kind of on the outside. But then once the three of them got together there with Rollins and Punk, I thought it really picked up. And certainly the end there with Punk and Cena where it could have went either way, I thought was great. And we should have figured it out. The second Cena took advantage of that opportunity to pull Punk back in and do the STF, we should have realized old John, old BMJ, Big Match John, is turning heel. Crazy show. Never thought we'd ever see it. And makes a lot of sense. You know, at the end of the day, Cody Rhodes is the QB1. He's more merchandise than almost anyone else in all the Fanatics. It would have been crazy to turn him heel. But so instead, we're going with John Cena right now. And you could have Cena as this monster heel now for the remainder of the year where you have several absolutely beloved babyfaces he could work with. You have Cody at Mania. At some point, you can go back to Roman Reigns. You have CM Punk. You can certainly go back to that. You have Randy Orton. You can certainly go back to him. So many different things you can do. But I am so invested in this heel Cena run. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. We got through this. This was tough. Sorry I sound like crap. And I will see you all in the next video.